Hello everyone, these are the Silent Brothers, and today we'll be analyzing and reviewing Alan Moore's and Brian Boland's Batman: The Killing Joke. This is the deluxe edition we have here, and we would like to show you a little bit of the art before we get started with the plot itself. Starting with the plot of the comic, we see Batman visits Joker at Arkham. He tells him that he just wants to talk, and that he thinks that the relationship they have at the moment is going to kill one of them or both of them in the end if it continues like that. So he tells him what to talk to him, so to see what he can do to fix it. Only to find out that he's not really talking to the Joker but to an imposter, and the real Joker is out and about plotting his next move, which is what we will be seeing next. An interesting thing about this comic in particular is that it takes us back to the Joker's origin, which is something that you don't see every day. We see that he's a married man, has a wife with an upcoming kid, and that he's a washed up comedian who doesn't seem to be able to get a job and get a payroll going. And his problem seems to overwhelm him. But we see that he loves his wife and kid very much. So he just wants to get that big break to help them. We see that he's a very insecure guy, a very sad person, someone you would normally mock, but the reader, as you read, you can't help but feel sorry for him. So what he ends up doing is that he goes to the Gordon's place and he shoots Barbara Gordon, Jim Gordon's daughter, in cold blood, and after that he undresses her and takes pictures. All of this in front of the father, James Gordon, the commissioner we all know and love. And after that he kidnaps James Gordon because he plans to do something with him, which is something we will be seeing later on. This scene is very controversial among everyone because some people think that he actually rapes Barbara Gordon in this scene because he undresses her and takes pictures and etc. Here we see that the Joker resorts to committing a crime to help the family because the wife's pregnant, the kid's coming, and he needs something. He needs that amount of money to help them get out of the situation. So he starts going to these two mobsters, which are part of the Red Hood gang, and what they want is they want him to help them break into the chemical plant that he used to work at, so they can do a job at the playing card company next door. And here we see that the two criminals mock the Joker all the time, and they don't pity him at all, which we do as the reader, because we see how much of a poor devil he is, how much he really in a bad situation he is. So one nice thing about this comic is that you go from the present to the past and you see the Joker's origin, which is something that's very interesting because he's one of the best enemies that Batman has. Moving on, we see what the Joker's plotting. We see that what his plan is to drive one of Gotham's greatest champions insane. He wants to drive James Gordon insane to prove that anyone can go insane if they are pushed, the right amount. So what he does is that he, as you can see, he strips him of his clothing, he treats him very inhumanely. And what he tells him here is very interesting. He says that the past is a very complicated thing for him that gets him anxious because all these memories come back. And he says that the way out, the emergency exit, as he calls him, is the madness. Here he says you can just step outside and close the door on all those dreadful things that happen. You can lock them away forever. So he's showing that he clearly doesn't remember what happened to himself all those years ago, because he locked himself out of all those things and resorting to madness, which is kind of like an easy way out for him. And he wants Gordon to do the same thing. That's why he shot his daughter, stripped her of her clothing, humiliated him, etc. Here we see one of the saddest parts in the comic, coming back to the Joker's origin. We see how these two cops come in the tavern with Joker's talking to the two criminals, and they break the news and they tell him that his wife just had an accident and that she's dead because of an electrical short. The Joker obviously can't believe him, and he's gutted by the whole thing. And he tells the criminals that he doesn't want to do the job anymore because there's no point, there's no kid, there's no wife. But they tell him he has to do it because he's dealing with the mob, like he's not dealing with anyone. And he he says he understands, and here we see one of the most gutting pictures in the comic, which is we see the Joker before becoming the Joker in the surrounded by desperation, and the people around him just seem to mock him instead of pity him, which is what we as the reader do. So what the Joker does next is that he starts showing Gordon the pictures of his daughter naked and shot, which obviously is something very strong for James Gordon. So what his plan seems to be working, because Gordon is all stressed out. While Batman tries to find where he is, and he clearly can't. Then we go back to the past, to the Joker's origin, and we see that he's not very pleased with what he's doing, clearly, because he has no motive anymore. And as they're breaking into the plant like they planned, one security guard catches them, and police hits the scene. Then we see Batman get to the scene, and the Joker, we see him fall in a chemical waste, which is what ends up turning his hair green and changing his appearance to what he looks like now, and is clearly what drives him over the edge, as we can see in this image. Batman finally arrives and confronts him, and Batman is able to save Gordon, and Gordon tells him he has to go after him, so he goes after him, and while Batman's chasing him, the Joker is talking through him through a microphone, and he tells them that all it takes for you to be mad is to have a bad day. And this is where the similarities between Batman and the Joker start coming in, because he tells them that all you need to be driven into madness is having a bad day. And he tells them, you had a bad day once, am I right? Which is clearly referring to Batman's parents being killed and all. Obviously the Joker doesn't know that, but he feels like Batman is a little bit like him, and that he had a bad day once and everything changed, and that's why he dresses like a flying rat, as like he says. And he says that everything's just a big joke. And then Batman finally finds him and they start to get into a fight, and etc. And here we see that the Joker points at him with a gun that isn't really loaded. And here we see the Joker being sad because he didn't succeed in shooting Batman, but we think that really maybe he knew it all along. You know how the Joker is always perfect with his plans. I mean, maybe he knew that the gun wasn't real in the first place. And then the Joker just telling me, why don't you kick the hell out of me like you usually do, you know? And Batman tells him, well, I want to help you, like I said, like in the beginning of the comic, that he goes to him to talk because he doesn't want either of them to be killed because of the way they are taking right now. So because both are gonna die if they continue. But the Joker says it's too late for that, and he says that the situation, Batman trying to help him, reminds him of a funny joke, which I'm gonna take the liberty to read. See, there were these guys in a lunatic asylum, and one night they decide they don't like living in an asylum anymore. They decide they're going to escape. So like they get up onto the roof, and there, just across this narrow gap, they see the rooftops of the town stretching away in the moonlight. Now the first guy, he jumps right across with no problem, but his friend daren't make the leap. You see he's afraid of falling. So then the first guy has an idea. He says, hey, I have my flashlight with me. I'll shine it across the gap between the buildings. You can walk along the beam and join me. But the second guy just shakes his head. He says, what do you think I am, crazy? You turned it off when I was halfway across. And he starts laughing. And while the Joker laughs, Batman starts laughing, which is where we see the end of the comic, which shows us how alike these two really are. I think that what the Joker tries to say, telling the joke, is that Batman is a madman just like him. He doesn't trust him, obviously, like the guy from the joke, but that he's insane too. So both of them are crazy in the Joker's mind, and this we can see as Bruce has his problems himself. And when Batman laughs at the joke as well, that means he gets it as well, which means that maybe these two just love to hate each other, and this shows us how much alike these two really are. These are the Silent Brothers. Thank you for watching the video. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. So our score for Batman the Killing Joke would be a solid 8 out of 10. We think it's a great comic, and it really shows how the relationship between these two really is. Thanks for watching. These are the Silent Brothers signing out now. Have a nice day.